And then also my daughter says, Dad, that's Marilyn Manson sitting there. So, who? Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson? Where? Right there in front of you. He was literally sitting. Marilyn Manson was sitting in front of me, and he was just totally into it. And I thought, here's this guy who's known as a satanic guy and everything, but he's there. And I get goosebumps when I think about it that, we've always heard God works in mysterious ways.
That's right, folks. Eddie just announced he goes to church with Marilyn Manson. Breaking news.
Breaking news. And we only sacrificed 2 chickens in one go.
I don't have to grow. I'm not the one with 2-star hands. Giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Yes, we're back at you, people. It's been a while, but Dave and I are back.
We're back.
Man, we've been around the world, and yeah. I can't find my baby. That's one of my favorite old songs. But
I couldn't find my shaver this morning. I rolled in late last night. That's how tight we cut it to make today's deal. So
yeah, since we last spoke and we last saw you people, or you people saw us, I've been to California.
Yeah.
And back. It's so good to be back in the free state of Oklahoma.
I feel like I've been in the North Pole. I got close. I could tell I shoveled at least 1.5 foot of snow out just while I was at my mother's house.
Oh, you're such a good son.
Yeah,
such a good boy. You're such a good boy, David.
Yeah, thank God for snowblowers, man, but they're still a workout,
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's nothing better than shoveling snow. You have to be careful, though. I think probably... I don't want to say, because I don't know this for a fact, but I was going to say that there's probably a large percentage of heart attacks every year that occur from people shoveling snow.
Absolutely.
And I've learned no matter what I do, if I feel a little bit queasy, lightheaded, dry, I stop.
Yep.
And I'll watch, and people may laugh at me. Well, what are you doing? You only worked 5 minutes. Well,
Well, and what fools people, this is true of a lot of winter sports, ice skating, another one. Yeah. You don't feel yourself sweating because you're out in the cold, brisk air.
Right.
And you don't realize how hardly you're straining yourself.
Until you take off your garment underneath, you're just so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, it feels great because you don't feel cold because you're working so hard.
Right.
Yeah, it's something people really have to be careful of. When I was a kid in Philadelphia, I went around shoveling snow.
Yeah.
I think I was getting paid $1 or $2. For a
sounds about
sidewalk.
Right. 70s, 60s, right? Those era.
Yeah, 60s.
Yeah.
Early, actually.
Oh, yeah, it was some good side income for me, too.
Yeah, but, man, that was some hard work for a 12-year-old, 11, 12-year-old kid. I'm out there. But I'm hustling. My cousin's asleep in his house. Bless his departed soul. It's funny how that shows. I've always wanted to make a little money, when I was a kid. And I'd get motivated. And it's funny because... my parents never really asked that of me.
Yeah.
In fact, I was so bad at doing lawns and raking that my father, boy, give me that.
Your lost cause.
Boy, give me that. And he would just do it, and I'm sitting there, I said, okay, thanks, But, and it's funny because when my kids got older, I had them raking. And I'm watching, boy, give me that. It was the same thing. Kids don't know how to rake. And it's funny how all of a sudden one day, it's like the leaves just jump onto the rake. Yeah. But when you're a kid, they're jumping away from the rake. I mean, I could not rake leaves to save my life. And I know what my dad was saying. I don't, Same with sawing. Sawing was he'd always say, let the saw do the work. God. Not you, And sure enough, now I've learned I let the saw do the work. Yeah. And I'm sitting there forcing, trying to, and this thing getting stuck. You know how it sticks.
Pinch blade,
But I tell you, I don't know. Have you ever noticed my finger here?
Yeah, it's doing something weird.
Oh, it's always been there. since I was 10 years old. You can't see it from where you are, I don't know. But what happened when I was 10 years old, I was cutting lawns one summer. I was 10 years old, and so these people had this really high lawn, and it was so hard to start the lawnmower. So I decided to mowed it one time, and I was going to lower the wheels, and I was going to lower it while the lawnmower was going. And so,
God, I can see this coming.
Yeah, exactly. And so I lift the thing and put my hand there on the side to lift it, and I hear this thing go, clip. It's just a clip. And I said, oh, what was that? And I looked down, and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, where is it? And so, I mean, it was one of those things that happened so fast.
Yes, it does.
And I was probably in shock and couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even know which finger it was. It was just I knew my hand was covered in blood here.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing this little piggy. And then finally I found it. And I went, I finally found it. And I went to the lady's house. Yeah. And I said, ma'am, could you please call my mom? Mm-hmm. But she called the air police. Mm-hmm. We lived at Holloman Air Force Base. I was in the Air Force Base. And the lady was just scared to death that, here this 10-year-old kid loses his finger, So anyway, they took me home and then got my mom and then took me to the dispensary. It's on military at Holloman Air Force Base. And so the doctor came in, he's looking at it, and he's sticking his finger. And I said, am I going to lose my hand? Because, it's like, you see all the movies and somebody gets in there, we must amputate. All those wars, somebody gets shot, anything that happens to their leg, their foot, their toe, we must amputate to save your life. So I was expecting them to cut my hand off because my finger had lost the tip. And so here's what they did. Even doctors today can't figure out why my fingertip here is brown and grows hair out of it.
Wow.
And so, it grows hair. But the reason is they cut it from my arm. Oh. Yeah, they took it from my arm where the skin is brown. Yeah. It's pigmented. Right. And this has hair follicles. Yeah. The rest of you don't. So I would have, for years it was super sensitive. It's still more sensitive than this. It's benign. I can do that. It used to be just couldn't hardly do that.
So you could tell when Eddie hit puberty when your hair started growing out his fingertip.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. That's good. Oh man.
Well, the best thing I did for my mother, besides getting her shoveled out of snow, she's 85 years old. She was out there shoveling. I couldn't stop her. I just had to hurry get ahead of her. But then this renter next door wants to borrow her snowblower so he can do his 100-foot long driveway in the back of his house. And and Eddie, you're an insurance guy. You know what you tell homeowners. Oh yeah. These are power equipment. Somebody will lose their arm. Yeah. Well, so finally, before I left to come back here, I went over and negotiated. I said, okay, here's the deal. You can use it under these terms. I said, first, you completely blow my mother's driveway, all of her walks, including all the way to the back alley. And then, and only then, you get to use it for your driveway.
After you sign a release.
Yes, exactly. We did this all. And so now my mother's set because now, she's 85. This is the same home I came home from the hospital to, right? Yeah. So this is kind of, but now not only are her 9 kids, moved out, she doesn't even have hardly any grandkids left in town, because a few of the family stay there. But, so she's she's the last one in her family alive. Yeah. Well, no, she's got one younger brother. But anyway, so, it's a tough thing. And, rite of passage, it was great to see my mother. And I get 1 week of winter between Christmas and New Year's. I go up there, and that's all the winter I want. Wow. I am so glad to get out of there.
I can imagine. Yeah. But we're supposed to get some winter here in the Southwest. It's blowing in this afternoon, which
we'll put air quotes around winter. I'm sorry. But
we'll see.
When you've been through
hopefully
it,
it's not. Well, I know. Hopefully it's not the ice storm of 2007.
Yeah,
that was bad.
We've gotten some hellish ones.
Yeah, yes. I got locked in for 4 days because the ice crystals, those little balls, the little balls, and they hardened. Yeah, and it was 4 feet high and turned into just a block of ice, 4 feet high and about 3 feet deep. Yeah. It was too frozen. I had to wait for it to thaw out. I'm trying to chip and finally I said, forget this. And it finally warmed up after about 3 or 4 days. And I was able to get it out and get my car out of the garage again. But yeah, we had quite a time in California. It was, well, first of all, the trip there was adventurous. We got snowed in Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah.
They have these gates, you know, and apparently the mountains there in Wyoming, between Wyoming and Nevada, Utah, it was closed. It was snowed up, and then what happened, there were some big rigs that turned over and blocked the road. I mean, it was a mess. So we ended up spending an extra night in Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And then we ended up going another route down south again, all the way down south to Wyoming towards Colorado again, then over, and then back up.
Well, you took I-80, right?
Yeah, it was I-80 at first, right.
Oh, okay.
And so then we tried to go down to 70.
Oh.
Yeah, and then over, and then back up, because 80 was closed.
Oh, I got
80 got shut down.
So what, over to Salt Lake City? Or
well,
no,
we south of Salt Lake, and then we had to go back up. We did have to go back up to,
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this. There are basically only 2 roads into California from the east, right? Up by Reno, going into San Francisco area, that's I-80.
That's 80.
And then all the way down I-40 eventually, because you got to go south of Las Vegas.
To San Francisco.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you've got really only 2 ways into California by road.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm sorry. It's 70 that goes to Frisco. 40 goes down south.
Yeah.
It's a little further south.
Yeah.
It's north of LA, but it's still south. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but hey, I have to tell you, I had an experience. I don't know if I shared this with you. We get there and we find out my daughter is good friends with none other than one Kanye West.
Oh.
So Kanye has a Sunday service that he does, and you can get it on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. And all it is worship. He has this choir singing. Now, it's a little odd because you walk into this dark warehouse. I mean, totally dark. You're just feeling your way through. And you sit down, and then they open these skylights. And the skylights, the way it is, you know how with dust particles, well, when the light comes in, you just see these rays of kind of filtered light, you know, interesting. And they've got about 4 or 5 of these things. And then here comes the choir, and then they start singing. So it is amazing. I mean, Mormon Tabernacle Choir, eat your heart out. These people, and it's the amazing thing to watch is the guy who leads it. There's no music, no instruments. It's just all a cappella.
Wow.
And he just will do this. He'll just, and
wow.
All the different parts come in when they want, and then he'll turn around, face the crowd, and he'll do it behind him. And I'm thinking, how in the heck are they getting their signals? I'm trying to, you know me, my mind. Okay, what's the signal? what is the key to make him get these people triggered? But I think they're just so good, and they know what they're doing. But they are phenomenal. It was. I watch it. If you get a chance, look for it. Kanye West Sunday service, and it's one every week. And my granddaughter's actually. And then they bring out these little kids, and my granddaughter's one of the little kids that they bring out, and they sing their little song. And then at the end, they have everybody join in. It's just worship, praise music.
Yep.
Now they've taken some when we were there, they did an Adele song, 1 or 2, but changed the lyrics.
Yeah.
About Jesus.
Yep.
But here's the real clincher. You'll really appreciate this. So I'm sitting there, we're on the second row there behind the deal, and Kanye comes, he's walking around with his little iPhone filming this.
Yeah.
And so he's walking around, and then also my daughter says, "Dad, that's Marilyn Manson sitting there." So, who? Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson? Where? Right there in front of you. He was literally sitting. Marilyn Manson was sitting in front of me, and he was just totally into it. And I thought, here's this guy who's known as a satanic guy and everything, but he's there. And I get goosebumps when I think about it that, we've always heard God works in mysterious ways.
That's right, folks. Eddie just announced he goes to church with Marilyn Manson. Breaking news.
Breaking news. And we only sacrificed 2 chickens and 1 goat. No, it was amazing. I mean, he was totally transfixed. I mean, he was totally into it, and of course, and while we were there, Kim Kardashian comes in late with Kanye's kids, and she drops the kids off and takes off. Again.
Yeah, because they're divorced.
Yeah, so she drops the kids off. Yeah. But anyway, afterwards, I got to meet Kanye and shake his hand, and he's just this really nice guy. I was saying, wow, he's just another guy. And, and I'm convinced that it's for real. He truly, truly loves the Lord.
Oh, he does.
He needs the good thing. Here's the good thing. He's not going to these churches and letting them co-opt him.
Right.
You remember in the 70s when we were saved, and you remember anybody that was a celebrity that got saved, next thing you knew, they were, all these churches had them, and they wanted, we've got so-and-so coming, we got so-and-so, so-and-so. And almost all of them fell away because they weren't prepared, and they were being used, and the church showed its ugly side.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the church wanted celebrities, and the scripture says, do not elevate a novice to leadership.
Exactly.
And
so Kanye, I think, is smart enough. He knows, and he has kept himself afar from these people, and he still lives his life private. But you could tell he loves his kids. The whole time afterwards when we were there talking, he was holding the one little girl, and he had like 4 other ones around him. And they're all very obedient. They're all very quiet, and they're just sitting there, and they got into his car, and so it was quite an experience.
Now, where was that in California?
Yeah, it was in Los Angeles.
Okay, yeah, because he's got the place up there by Yellowstone, Cody, Wyoming. He's got a ranch up there too.
Right.
Yeah,
but also then the other high point, which was a very accidental high point, I ended up at the Reagan Library.
Really?
By accident.
Oh, my goodness.
How do you do that?
Yeah, how does that happen?
Well, when I was taking my granddaughter, they had me take her to her rehearsal for this Kanye thing. And so I get on the freeway.
Oh, wait a minute. Your daughter was part of the Kanye music production there?
My granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
my daughter was helping Kanye. He's got a school.
Yeah. Now, is this the daughter that's been very involved in pro-life work out there?
Yeah, she runs
Same
crisis
daughter.
pregnancy centers.
Okay.
That's what she,
Yep.
So anyway, she told, okay, get on this freeway, and you go. And so I went on and got on this freeway and drive, and all of a sudden I look and said, Reagan Library, next exit. And I said, whoa, that's here? Okay. So I kept going. I dropped my granddaughter off. I said, on the way back, they're not waiting on me, expecting anything, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the Reagan Library. So I stopped, and I went, took some photos outside. Yeah. I mean, they let you in. You can actually go in and back on the patio. It's beautiful around there. But I didn't want the tour because it was like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that was too long.
Yeah.
So I just walked around and took photos, and people were very nice and everything. They have a restaurant out there. Yeah. And then I get back in my car and I put the GPS on, and my daughter's house is literally 8 minutes from the Reagan. I went this other way, but I just took a different street, the actual road that the library is on.
No, this is up towards like Burbank.
It's Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks. And
north side.
North, right. And so, wow. So those were a couple of my little highlights of my time.
I have to tell my oldest son, my oldest son tried to help Kanye's last presidential run.
Oh, really?
Fact is, he had signs in his front yard, big flag. Bunch of them got stolen. And I said, no, they're not necessarily Kanye fans. Those are collector's items.
Yeah.
But
that's true. That is true. But anyway, that was my pre-Christmas. Then we got home, and the rest is history. But so Dave, the last day of 2021.
I'm ready to bury it.
That might be good, except that we don't know what lies ahead.
No,
as my dad used to, his favorite show used to be The Shadow, and he started saying, "Who knows what evil lurks
Only the shadow knows.
Only the shadow knows." Yeah. Or as Flip Wilson used to say, "The shadow do."
The devil made me do it.
Yeah, the devil made me do it. Yeah. All right, everybody. So, Dave, let's do a little review.
Yes.
2021.
All right.
It began on a sad note, in that we had to watch Joe Biden be inaugurated.
Yeah.
To our dismay, much to our dismay. And I believe everything we expected, he has not let us down.
Yep.
He is probably, if not, the worst president we've ever had.
Yeah.
The good news is for Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
He makes Jimmy Carter look good.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think finally, in fact, it was funny because yesterday I was watching, I think it was CBS or ABC, one of the two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And they were, yeah, it was like they cut in on one of the bowl games.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but man, they were actually even attacking Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the stuff. I mean, when you got the mainstream media starting to question his decisions and the things he's doing, then all
eventually the rats jump off the ship.
Well, they're going to have to, either that or they go down with the ship.
Yeah.
But like you, I do hope for better things for 2022.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back. And this is very important.
We're probably up against a break pretty soon, though.
Are we?
Should we reset so the camera's ready for...
All right.
I'm sorry.
You called it.
Well, I'm afraid we'd lose it.
No, it's we're at 21 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's use our
I think
8.
we got one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tease the rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this has been a tough year for us.
Yeah.
COVID did not get better, even though Joe Biden promised it would. COVID did not get better. In fact, if anything, it's gotten worse. We've had umpteen variants, and I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah.
The good news is I believe the variants are getting nearer and nearer to a cold.
Yes.
And flu.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant. It's not fun.
Nope.
But the problem is nowadays, I mean, nobody really knows. Do I have a cold? Do I have the flu? Do I have COVID? Do I have this? Do I have that? So they've really messed things up, and they're still trying to regulate people. And honestly, it's no longer for health reasons. Mm-hmm. It's they want to dominate and regulate and show who's boss. That's what this is about.
I like to defend Joe Biden just a little bit.
You like to defend who?
Joe Biden.
Who?
Yes, Joe Biden.
Oh, man.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Well, much to the secular humanist dismay, they're not God. That includes Joe Biden. That includes the federal government. That includes Dr. Fauci. They're not God. There's only so much you can do. My thing is, and I agree with Ben Shapiro, this thing's going to run its course. For us to think that we have the power that we're going to stop it in its tracks, no, this is common cold.
But how does this defend Joe Biden? Because he's still out there.
He couldn't have done what he promised to do.
Exactly. And that
he was wrong to promise it.
Right, there we go. Now we're talking. Now we're back to what.
But these are the 6 lies, and I'm going to put all of them at Joe Biden's feet.
Easy now.
Okay.
Calm down.
Yes. 6 lies.
Every now and then I have to.
Right. Yes, I know it. I do. When you're the little kid in a family of 9 kids, you got to assert yourself.
That's it. Okay. Exactly. Assert on.
Yes. So they said, if I'm vaccinated, I can't get COVID. They said, if I'm vaccinated, I can't spread it. If I'm vaccinated, I can pitch the mask for good. They said, if I'm vaccinated, I can go to parties. And they said, I wouldn't ever get blood clots from the vaccine. Those are lies.
Yeah, as we've seen. No, it's true. That's very true. But as I said, Joe Biden, though, is not innocent in this. He used this to run on and to win.
Yeah.
And maybe, yes, to his credit, or not credit, but let's say to loosen some of the punishment for him, it was the people around him and the media that really tried to destroy Donald Trump for his efforts to stop this in the beginning of it, right?
Right.
And so they kept pitching all these lies. Then they started pitching all these more lies on what Joe Biden was going to do, how he was going to do it, and so forth.
Yeah.
And it just has not worked out.
Right. He couldn't do it. Now, he was wrong to think he had any power, and he was wrong to think he could take away our liberties.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm not going to mandate any of these vaccines," and then he turns around and does it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that just you can't trust these guys.
No.
You can't trust these doctors. These doctors are the same doctors who are telling you that, oh, we got to get more respirators. That's the only thing that are going to save us, these ventilators, you know? And they find out they're the worst thing for you. You know, then they say, well, if it's COVID, you don't want to use a steroid. Now they're finding out the steroids are one of the first early treatments that really helps reduce the symptoms.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's just so many things you can't trust the medical establishment.
Yeah. And get this. So, in line with that, Dr. Fauci is about to retire. Mm-hmm. He needs to retire before they come with pitchforks and torches and get him. But he is going to retire with an annual salary of $350,000 a year. Okay, but that's not all of it. I just found out this morning his wife has some other government position.
Yes, she does.
Between the two of them, they will make over $1 million a year.
God.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So, all right, with that, everybody, we're going to go ahead and take a short break, and we'll be back after these messages. Hey, by the way, while we take this break, I'm going to go ahead and speak about my book. It's called Y'all Have Sinned, and it is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
And eventually we'll get it up on one of our websites.
I hope we do a good review of it, Eddie, you and me.
Yeah.
As a project.
So look for it. If you'll go to freshblackcoffee at gmail.com, freshblackcoffee@gmail.com, give us your address and everything. We'll keep you abreast of everything. Okay? Anyway, in the meantime, we'll get back to the show. All right.
Nice.
Well, thank you. Hey, listen, so we started out with Fauci and Biden, and then what happened on January 6th?
Oh, yes.
The so-called insurrection.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. That is just the biggest boondoggle ever.
I want to excuse me for being a little bit crude,
Chris.
But to quote Mayor Marion Barry, bitch set me up. That's what I think happened at the Capitol on January 6th. It was a setup.
Yeah, it was. In fact, all of those unindicted co-conspirators that they have let go, and they know they have them on film attacking. What really galls me is these police officers that they brought in, and there's one, he's not totally black, he's like Hispanic or something. He looks like he's gay. I mean, big, giant, big old guy. Personally, he's overweight. Let me just say, he's overweight. He should be out of the force, first of all, because he's not in the kind of shape. But anyway.
Maybe he's got black privilege.
Oh, of course.
That's okay.
Of course. But all these guys are now like little celebrities, and they're just a joke. They are a joke. I don't even know if they were there that day. I don't know where they were, what they were doing. But I guarantee you that everything that they say happened did not happen.
Right.
And so much, because we have video evidence, and the fact that the Capitol Police and the Congress are not releasing the videos, and they have thousands of hours of video that they can show what really happened and who was instigating this and it, but they won't do it. So there's too much going on, and it's a really sad situation when our country has been taken over. Yeah. And the thing that's the saddest, that really disappoints me, is the conservatives and Christians who want to so badly defend the government in this and buy into the insurrection theory. They don't know an insurrection. They would not know an insurrection if they saw it. Yeah. An insurrection would need weapons. The only person who used a weapon that day was the police officer that shot Ashley Babbitt. Yep. That's the only weapon that was used that day. And she was killed unarmed exercising what she felt was her First Amendment right. And he shot her, and then he has become a celebrity. Shame on you people. Shame on all of you news organizations that make this guy out to be some kind of hero for shooting an unarmed veteran and taking credit for it and patting himself on the back for saying he saved democracy. Are you kidding me? He saved. If democracy is that easy to save, then it's not worth much.
This is just pathetic.
It is.
I mean, it's just laughable.
It's just sad.
Yeah. And by the way, our local news media is starting to show their liberal colors, especially in a red state like this. They've had to hide their liberal, tendencies a lot. But even, some of the big names in local news, TV, keep referring to the January 6th insurrection. I'm done with you. When you use language like that, try to normalize it as our vocabulary. I'm done with you.
Right.
Look, January 6th, I plan on celebrating patriotism. Who was it? Hillary Clinton herself who said, as a member of the Senate, there are some people think that you're not patriotic if you oppose the president. She said, we have a right to oppose this president. That was Hillary Clinton.
Right. That was then and this is now.
Right.
That's the sad thing about it. That nobody wants to remember that.
Yeah. Right. We will speak up.
And they didn't, they just, they were never in danger. No one was ever in danger. The main conspirators that created this mess were inside people. It was FBI agents, informants, and people that were working with the FBI.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, it was a total setup.
Yeah.
It was a total setup, and it's a sad situation. This, honestly, I'm not just being hyperbolic here to say it reminds me of how the Nazis took over Germany.
Yes.
They did exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
They planted people. They found some patsies. The little Jewish kid who went in and shot the ambassador in Paris. He was set up. He was totally set up.
Yeah.
And they use that to, look, these people are like this. There's, and so that's what's going on. I mean, they are just building a case to take away all of the rights.
Yeah, I don't think we can reform the FBI. The whole Justice Department's going to have to be defunded, zero line, and then build a new agency to replace, because that's the only way you get rid of all of those civil servant protected employees. And the belly of the beast is evil. It's corrupt.
Yeah, I wonder if even Donald Trump or whoever is going to run for president on the Republican side in 2024, I wonder if that person is going to have the stomach, the fortitude, the power to clean house.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats are going to scream.
Yeah.
Like when we start firing their people that are working with him.
Yeah.
The FBI directors, the CIA directors, the heads of state, the Department of State, IRS, all these, and we start going through, you're all fired.
Yeah. Well, the strategy is you take back both houses of Congress here in the next year so that 1 year from this coming Wednesday, we've got Republicans in charge. And then it's investigation after investigation, and you expose the swamp itself. And I think whoever runs in 2024 on the Republican ticket runs against the swamp, against D.C. itself, because that is the highest average income city in America. And they have one product, and that's government, or as David Olin would say, tyranny, right? Because that's it. And why is it that they're more wealthy than the rest of the nation?
Exactly.
Something's wrong with this picture. We got to do a systemic change and clean it out.
I can tell you stories. People who went to Washington in debt came out as millionaires.
Yeah.
And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Now they're millionaires. That's the sad thing. That's the sad story of it. So many of them will do whatever they have to, whatever they can, to not give that up.
Yeah.
That golden cow.
Yeah.
So it's it's a tough thing. It's going to be a hard fight. I'm still convinced that it's a fight that is going to have to be fought on our knees, though, Dave, because I don't think we can convince people. And the biggest problem is not the typical leftist out there. In fact, a lot of the leftists, as we saw, where I was saying with Marilyn Manson and Kanye West and some of these people who are finally getting religion, as they say, the problem is these church people, people in churches. I mean, they don't believe in God. It's a false faith. They are beginning to worship man's interpretation of faith.
Yeah.
So instead of going back and connecting with God, and this is what God says, God, what does he say? I am the Lord thy God, I change not.
That's true. Yeah.
The God in Genesis 1:1 is the same God today.
Yes.
From Alpha to Omega.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, they, well, I'll go back to a story. I had, when I first got saved, there was a young man, I may have talked about this before, and we used to have a Tuesday night Bible study, and the pastor would do this Tuesday night, but he would let young guys every so and on. And this one guy was going to seminary, and so he was going to have him preach or teach on a Tuesday night. So we're sitting there. I think I was like 2-3 weeks old in the Lord.
Oh, yeah.
So, which is a blessing because I got trained right early. So anyway, so this guy gets up and he says, hey, I have to make a confession. All week long, I've searched the Bible trying to find something no one has ever found before.
Oh, that'll get you in trouble.
And teach it in a way that no one has ever taught it before.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And he said about 2 days into it, God just picked me up by my ears and told me, don't do that.
Yeah.
The word is the word, and it doesn't need to be changed.
That's right.
So, but you've got these people, every generation seems to want to find new, deeper meaning.
Yeah.
But it's not about teaching the word, it's about giving themselves credibility.
Yeah.
That I'm this great teacher that no one has ever discovered what I've discovered. It's that Gnostic
it's pride.
teaching. The secret knowledge, Gnosticism, that we always want to, it's the secret knowledge that God has shared with me, and if you want it, you're going to have to listen to me because I'm the only one that possesses this secret knowledge. I mean, that's the history and the story of Gnosticism. And we have a modern Gnosticism. We have all these other isms as, what was his name, Reverend E.V. Hill used to say, a bunch of isms that ought to be wasms.
Yes. Love that man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
He said all the communism, socialism, Jehovah's Witnessism, Mormonism, he said all the isms ought to be wasms. And so that's just it's just the way it is. But we that's how we ended up there. And also we've been infiltrated. The Southern Baptist Convention has been infiltrated.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got rank unbelievers running the Southern Baptist Convention.
Yes.
I mean, my only hope is the little bitty churches in Sand Springs and Catoosa and all these little areas, because all your big ones now, they've gotten so full of themselves that they think that they can basically preach whatever they want to, and we're supposed to take it. And it's sad because Baptists are really, really good Bible teachers. I mean, Baptist preachers, if they're right on, there's nothing better. But you've got so many in the hierarchy, and it's mostly these so-called theologians, not the actual pastors in a lot of cases. It's these guys working at the convention and administrative levels and all that. They're the ones that are doing all that.
See, they go to the politics side of it and kind of maneuver themselves into those places. And it reminds me of the old thing, as those who can't do go into teaching, yes. Yeah. And so, look what's happening over the last year or two with our Methodist friends. I mean, one big church just over here, Asbury, all of a sudden finds themselves without a denomination, because they are not going to go that direction that the higher-ups say. Right. You have to be enlightened now. God didn't understand the gay movement.
Right. Yeah. It's fluid. He's fluid.
Yeah.
It's evolutionary.
We were taught so many times in history back in junior high and senior high about the dark ages, the medieval ages, and where knowledge actually went backwards, where we lost knowledge. And I think, how could that have ever happened? Well, we see it happening every day. We just see it in medicine. Yeah. Old medicine's being discredited. It's not just that, but things like, Grandma's herbal garden. Grandma knew some things about medicine that were in that garden. Just the terpenes and all the different elements that really brought in natural healing that we think we need a pharmaceutical to do the job now. Mm-hmm. So there's just so many ways we're going backwards, and it's because of this. It's the same kind of culture that we see in Washington, we see on social media now. You're not allowed to question the orthodox version of reality. Yeah.
No, you're right. They're orthodox.
I mean, look at the guy who developed the mRNA gene therapy that's in the newest, COVID vaccines. He himself now has been banned from Twitter because he disagrees with the CDC. So they banned him, the guy who developed it. I mean, seriously, we got problems when we can't openly challenge things.
Yeah, it's, and people forget, they say trust the science, but I learned in the 4th grade that science is theory.
Question the science.
Question the science.
That's how you get better science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scientific theory, evolutionary theory, you name it. Even creationism is a theory, but why is the evolutionary theory any better than the creation theory?
Yeah.
When you put them next to each other, it's as crazy to believe what the evolutionists try to tell us.
Yeah, now that's faith.
Yeah, that's faith, and but not to question the other. So, yeah, Dave, it's a tough thing. So, but that's where we are with the country. We've got to get some stuff together, and we're going to take another break here. But when we get back, I want to discuss some football.
Yes.
It was quite a year in sports.
There's a few things in state politics, too. I just thought I would like to pop in quickly.
Sounds good to me.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, Brandon.
That's right.
I'm Jeff Davis with Just a Thought. The end of the year brings all kinds of feelings, some of them because of people we've lost and frustration from events that became impossible to change. The year past is one we lived through, and going forward, there is security in the fact that we survived those challenges. Then there's the new year yet to arrive. What challenges will we face? You can be sure there will be many. We can expect more horrible weather, earthquakes, tragedy, new COVID variants, and probably more restrictions, because that's what government does. New babies will come into the world. People will find each other. Some will dedicate their love to that special someone. We'll have an assortment of holidays. After New Year's, starting with an assortment of chocolates on Valentine's Day. People will drink too much on St. Patrick's Day and Cinco de Mayo, and we'll continue to celebrate America. It's also an election year, and despite every scary thing, we will persevere, because that's what people of faith do. Just a thought. I'm Jeff Davis.
Oh, there we go. We're back. And I need to unmute everybody. There we go, Dave. You're back. I'm black. You're back. You're back. I'm black. We're all back. So,
or to quote my favorite SNL skit of all time, and we're back. You had to see it. Z105.
Oh, the original SNL was just unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, it was... They could get away with stuff that today is banned, but it's the stuff that made it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, they had this couple. It was Jane Curtin and was it John Belushi?
No, that would have been.
They were the Whiteettes.
Oh, the Whiteheads. I thought you were going to do point counterpoint.
No, the Whiteheads. And it made fun of white people's wide butts. And they had the whole family. They had kids, and they got them. They showed scenes with how kids get toilet paper stuck in.
Oh God!
And so the kids have, and they got a sheet of toilet paper that is 1 foot by 1 hanging out. But so then to be fair, they had Cicely Tyson and Garrett Morris, black people. They had them come out, and so you looked at them. They were at first the shots were, and they weren't Whiteheads. The other ones were Whiteheads. But then they turned to the side, and their butts stuck out 2 feet in the back. Which black people are known for having those kind of butts that stick out, and white people with I mean, these guys, and so the one it had him, and Garrett was standing up. And he was talking to John or something, and Cicely was sitting down talking to Jane Curry, and they were talking, and she was taking a drink. She had a drink, and she took her drink and sat it on his butt. His butt became a table. I mean, absolutely one of the funniest scenes in the world that you could never, ever get away with.
There's no way.
No. Oh. I wonder if you can even still find those, if somebody has them somewhere, if you're even allowed to have them on
and this is my point. We are going backwards in knowledge because we're destroying the statues.
Yeah.
We're destroying the libraries. Yeah. We're book burning now. Mm-hmm. This is really what's happening.
Yeah. But anyway, those were the glory days of SNL, and John unfortunately passes away.
Yep.
And then so many of those guys, they quit and went into acting and movies, and then each generation.
Hey, that's how we got the line, Leia's.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy went into movies.
That's true. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Shrek, too. No, Donkey.
Yeah, that's right.
Donkey.
Yep.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Yeah.
All right. We better continue. So I said I wanted to discuss football. Yeah. This has been quite a season. Yeah. What all has happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, coaches started quitting and moving and this and this and this, and then all of a sudden, wham!
Yeah,
Lincoln Riley leaves OU. That was the earth-shattering.
It was.
The earth-shattering news was that. And then, which coach is it that left and is now going to LSU?
That would be Kelly from Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's right. Notre Dame. It was Brian Kelly. That's right. He's up at LSU. Another big shot and shock and everything. Then Lincoln goes to Southern Cal. Now, why do you think Lincoln went to Southern Cal?
Money, money, money.
Well, yeah, that could be. But if he went to the SEC, he would probably be able to get, because they've got some
but it's going to be easier to compete in the Pac-12.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lincoln.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. Part of it, I don't think he was in favor. I think he hates the SEC.
Yeah.
I don't think he likes it, and he was probably disheartened that they made the move.
Yeah.
And he just didn't want to do that, so he decided to go. And he's got coaches out there already. It's a half of a Texas Tech coaching squad out there.
Yeah.
And
who else gives a coach a pay package that includes a 24/7 private jet for your family?
Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
I mean, look. Yeah, I mean, that's an offer you can't refuse. I can't even get mad. I can't get mad. I think Lincoln, that's probably the smartest move you've made.
Yeah.
And but now getting back to OU, so Bob Stoops comes in,
brilliant thing
the other night, and just pretty much demolishes.
How could you
Oregon.
not enjoy just the human interest side of that?
Right.
Bob Stoops looked like he's having the time of his life. Right. Finally he gets a chance to coach on the sideline with his own son.
Yeah.
And then, at ESPN, I think sucks when it comes to covering these games, because the most heartwarming part of it was when he calls Brett Venables up there.
Yeah.
And he said, this is where we're going. He takes off the famous Bob Stoops white visor and puts it on Brent Venables' head.
Wow, man, that's good.
Yeah, that's
the good part of OU.
Yeah.
I have issues sometimes with OU fans.
Yes.
Because I think they're too full of themselves. An example, okay. Mississippi State played Texas Tech.
Yes.
I'm a Texas Tech alum.
It's a great game.
Played football. Yeah, Tech just blew them out.
Absolutely.
Offense, defense, as they say, all sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And so the next day, Twitter just savaged Mike Leach.
Mike Leach, the Mississippi State, who used to be the coach and a good coach at Tech, right?
Right. He's the one who started it all.
Yeah.
All those coaches at Tech now that he was playing against were his guys.
Yeah.
And if you saw him at the end, he walked out and he hugged them all and they were talking. Yeah. There's no bitterness, no animosity. Now, here's what gets lost too. 10 of his players opted out. 10 of his starters, I think
at Mississippi State.
At Mississippi, 4 were starters, then another 7 were like second team that played a role. Yeah. So he's without 10 players. Basically one side of the ball, he's essentially missing.
Okay. Now let's define. Some people, because of COVID protocols, had to quarantine, but you're talking about saving their bodies for the draft.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you for pointing that. That's exactly. It's happening a lot of, Texas Tech had one guy opt out, the receiver, Eric Ezukama. He sat out. But as you can see, they had plenty of other receivers out there to make up for that. So, but the next day, some of the things you read about, who's Leach going to blame now? The players again, or this, who's he going to da-da-da-da? He didn't blame anybody. He said OU played great. Tech. Yeah. Tech played great. Tech played
They
great.
really did.
He said they were ready for us, and they this and that, and they're just better. And so, this is after these people already, came out with all this stuff where they never actually paid attention. But I'm interested to see what happens at USC. I think they're going to turn it around. I think it's going to be a good program. He kept Graham Harrell. He's got, of course, a lot of stuff. He's bringing in more. And we'll see who all he gets in. But I think USC's best days are ahead. I'm not one of these people that hate. I don't hate programs. I hate the things that go on around the programs, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, when what's his name? He's at Seattle now.
Right. Yeah.
The coach.
Yeah.
The shenanigans he was pulling, the things
with Reggie Bush and some of those very questionable
and,
stuff.
And then, of course, the way the ESPN treats Alabama, the SEC in general.
Oh, yeah, because they own stock in the SEC. They own their TV contract. So, of course, they're going to promote them. It was sickening to watch this week.
And the SEC so far has lost 4 games that they've played.
I think all... Yeah,
they're 5 now. It may be 5 now. I don't know if one of them won or not, but I know at least 4 of the first 4 games they lost those.
That to me is the subplot of this.
Yeah, and it's reversed because now the Big 12 has won 3 out of 4 games.
Well, yeah, other than Oregon losing to Oklahoma, I guess.
No, Iowa State lost.
Well, you said. Oh, the Pac-12, you mean? Or?
No. The Big 12 has won.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Big 12. Right. Yeah. We've only lost. Well, West Virginia lost in Iowa State.
That's right. So it's 2 now. That's true.
We won 3.
Yeah.
3 and 2.
3 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So it's but it's quite a shake. It's the politics of sports has almost gotten worse than the politics of politics.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a crazy.
I want to say I am retiring from sports prognosticator, and I'm taking a contract in Las Vegas on being a bookie because I had my best prognostication ever happen in the middle of the summer when all of a sudden OU and Texas were rumored to be leaving for SEC, and sure enough, within days, it was a done deal, right, as announced. And a lot of my friends from down there in Norman was like, oh, that's it. Big 12's done. It's gone. Just in the tanks. Teetotalers took to drinking over it. It was bad. And I said, no. Here's what we got to do. I said, Yeah, they lost 2. So now we're down to 8 teams. Let's move it back up to 12. And I said, and this was the gutsy thing, I said, and here are the 4 teams you need. And all 4 of them not only were picked, we're talking Central Florida, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU. And they should have taken BYU a couple years ago. But now 3 of those 4 are in the top 25 for most of the season. And the only one that wasn't UCF, Florida, they just won a huge bowl game over Florida.
Right.
And now Gus Malzahn is their coach now. He's going to be coaching in the Big 12. I think the Big 12's looking better than ever. I really do.
I agree. I think Big 12 is going to be a real force.
Because we don't have the Longhorn Network sabotaging a TV package.
Yeah, right. Right. They can actually get their own package.
Yeah.
They can recruit.
Yeah.
They'll be able to recruit well because a lot of these schools, the thing that's kept them from advancing is being in that AAC instead of being in one of the FBS.
Yeah. Now, here's what, Todd Graham, the former TU coach who then went on to Pitt and then Arizona, and now he's at Hawaii, was a client of mine. So I spent a lot of time at his house, because I got to make this thing look awesome at all times for all of his blue chip recruits coming in. And he said, there's 4 states where the bulk of the recruiting happens. He said, California, Texas, Florida, Ohio. Those 4 are where the bulk. So you look at what happened with the Big 12. They just reinvested in Houston, right? And they've already got TCU, Tech, and Baylor. But they just grabbed a Florida school, right? And they got the best school in Ohio, Cincinnati, right now. So they got those. The only thing they don't have now is a California school in the Big 12. So having a school represented in the conference from those states, it does help.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we always beat Texas using Texas players at OU. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of California kids want to get out of California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see if a California kids, I think I want to go to Florida.
Yeah, except Doug Gottlieb, the famous point guard for OU basketball, played for Eddie Sutton. He would always call back to Jim Rome's TV radio show and give the Stillwater update, about the tornadoes in the mobile homes and that. He always liked to play that off because Doug Gottlieb's a Hollywood guy himself. So anyway, so you're going to get some of that. But you know what? Ames, I just drove through Ames last night, it's no better than Stillwater.
No, Ames in there.
Yeah. And I got family who's a graduate. Fact is, my wife's great-great-great-grandfather founded the medical school up there at Ames, so we got some.
What's interesting about that, and I didn't realize, I may have talked to you about this before, how the Big 8, the old Big 8, had black players so much further ahead than the SEC and the Southwest Conference and all. But that's where George Washington Carver went and got his degree.
Nebraska?
No.
At Ames. Yes.
Yeah, Iowa State.
Oh, yeah. Their education, or agricultural programs.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where he did all of his peanut discovery and sweet potatoes and all the things that he discovered. So, I don't hate Iowa State. I just don't like their coach.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up. But as we do, I know you put away your prognosticator's hat. But one more time, right now, 2022, what do you see in the horizon?
Politically, I see probably the biggest sweep of Congress, both houses. Whoa. I really see it happening. I mean, the Democrats, goodbye. They are just going to get shellacked.
Do you think that they will be able to cheat their way out of that?
It's up to the legislatures of each state. It really is. And, who knows? Who knows? Because we can't really get the reforms in until after that election.
Yeah. You would think they would have already put them in after the last one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Here's the other thing.
Okay.
You're going to see some heroes emerge on the conservative side that we haven't seen now. But it'll be after the election when they start cleaning house, having control of Congress.
Well,
and then we're going to say, It could be Trump, or it could be any number of these others. I would be a big fan of a Jim Jordan, Ron DeSantis. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them you can list that already are showing incredible courage in leadership. And I think we're going to see even more.
Well, you heard it here, folks. You heard it right here. Dave's prognostication.
Yeah. Well, I quit on the sports side.
Yeah, okay. There we go. That's good. That's well. All right. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up here for New Year's Eve. And let's see if I can get this some music going here.
Yeah.
And there we go. This is what happens when we lose our tech guy and I have to do it. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being with us for 2021. We pray you're with us, and we wish you the happiest of New Year's and a blessed, as they say in Spanish, a prospero año.
Yeah.
Bless you guys. Take care. Hey, by the way, while we take this break, I'm going to go ahead and speak about my book. It's called Y'all Have Sinned, and it is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
And eventually we'll get it up on one of our websites.
I hope we do a good review of it, Eddie, you and me.
Yeah.
As a project.
So look for it. If you'll go to Fresh Black Coffee at gmail.com, freshblackcoffee@gmail.com, give us your address and everything. We'll keep you abreast of everything, okay? Anyway, in the meantime, we'll get back to the show.